Who is Wendy Blanchett? She studied in an institution recognized by the imperial family of Moronata, the Tower of the Magician. She's one of the youngest top 3 civil servants in the tower, as well as the disciple of Shakma, the great sage who has reached his zenith. Simply put, she is a natural-born genius. The person whom she has loved for a long time got married. 10 years of unrequited love finally vanished at the sight of them exchanging vows in front of the altar. In the end, even if her mouth was torn to pieces, she still wouldn't be able to tell him about her feelings. Now that she's finally free from these feelings, she thought she'd feel a sense of freedom, yet she only succumbed to loneliness. She couldn't bear to be alone in this sorrow that no one could sympathize with, so she silently wished that someone would hug and comfort her. Suddenly, someone knocked on the door. She couldn't let anyone see her weak, but a worried voice was what she needed to hear the most. At that moment, she just wanted to be comforted with kisses, and by pushing their bodies together, something happened. That morning, she only wishes that the guy wouldn't remember, or that he might drop his conscience and run away. And the most surprising of all is that she slept with Aiden Winter, the most notable newcomer in the Magician's Tower, and was praised for having a magical gift by Shakma himself. Given his straight and handsome appearance, he's an ace who captured the hearts of all the wizards in a polite and amicable manner. At least even while drunk, you made the right choices, Wendy. I mean, look at him. Guessing by how old he is, at least he's not a minor, or else she already committed a crime. Suddenly, Aiden wakes up and blushes at the sight of Wendy in front of him. On the other hand, Wendy feels guilty for him. He's shining like a child, yet last night, she took his innocence. She then swears under her name to take full responsibility and apologizes for what she did. Also, it will be terrible to imagine a rumor going around that Wendy Blanchett has hit a new candidate, so she asks him to keep it a secret or else her reputation will definitely be ruined. Above all, she wouldn't like it if it would reach the person she loved the most. Aiden then requests to marry him. Yes, Wendy, he's referring to the marriage that you recently attended. And well, he's dead serious about it. Of course, Wendy disagreed. Who would want to marry a person they just spent one night with? When she said she was going to take responsibility, she meant to help in any way and not about marriage. But Aiden deserves proper compensation for mental and physical damage. Still, it won't be right to gamble her whole life just for that. Out of the blue, Aiden is crying that she's breaking her promise of granting his request. Oof, someone's in big trouble. How can she say no when he's looking at her like that? I mean, look at that face. He's making her weak every second. Wendy can't take it anymore. She panics and cups his face, saying that she will marry him and that he should stop crying. Huh? What did she just say? Aiden looks at her deeply as he caresses her hand. Only then she realizes why people keep saying that he is beautiful. Obviously, she got tricked, and worse, by a younger guy. But can she even blame him? She's so ashamed of herself, and so she has to find a way to break that promise. She didn't know she was obsessed with looks, but still, it doesn't sit right with her. Relax, Wendy. Who doesn't like handsome men anyway? Harassing a weak guy like him? How unbelievable, Wendy! But at that moment, she just wanted Aiden to stop crying. But the bigger problem is that someone might have witnessed it and will start a rumor in the Magic Tower. What will happen to her then? And why is she hesitant to tell straightforwardly that she doesn't want to get married? She then realizes that Aiden still kissed her even when her breath smelled of alcohol. But why would a handsome, talented, and bright-minded person want to marry her? Suddenly, she flinches when she hears someone calling Aiden. She takes a peek from the balcony, recognizing him in an instant. Though her mind is still glued to her unrequited love, her eyes widen when the girl asked why he stayed out late last night. When Aiden answers, he takes a glance at Wendy. Wendy can't take it anymore. What if he'll tell the truth about last night? Well, there's only one way to stop him. She then calls him to her office, even though he's working in another department. In her office, Aiden thinks that Wendy wants to proceed with the wedding plan right away, but he's wrong. Wendy has to cancel it. She can't be a good wife because she still hasn't forgotten him yet. For a witch, a promise is like poison. Even if it's not of great importance, she should keep it or else she'll lose a considerable amount of mana. The only way to avoid that is to modify the promise for it to be invalid. Aiden leans closer to her and proposes an engagement instead. There's no way she can refuse a relationship with the intent of marriage. For a month, They should get engaged first while keeping it a secret from the other magicians. Cornered, a man pretending to be harmless is saying things that no one can overlook. He's like a criminal. Wendy feels sorry for her researchers, but work is the best option to keep herself busy, thinking that she'd be able to forget about it. However, Aiden still visits her more often, bringing food to her table to eat. He has already won over the researchers, and at this rate, he'll just settle in the office. Despite shoving Aiden away, she still takes a bite of the sandwich that he left. Seeing how happy her researchers are, she confronts them. This time, Wendy asks them if they don't find Aiden annoying. Of course they don't. They definitely love him for everything he has ever done to help and make their tummies full. Wendy sarcastically smiles that they aren't even asking for her opinion if she likes Aiden or not. Well, she hates his presence. Says the one who pulled him in one night? For 7 years, it's only been the 4 of them, so they hate the idea of their domain being intruded upon. At a time when they are starting a new project, she thought there was no way they could extend a warm welcome to a stranger, but when Aiden walks in, they rush at him like eager and excited puppies. Wendy definitely feels betrayed. Actually, it looks like they're hiding something. 5 days ago, when Wendy wasn't at her desk, Aiden had come over and pointed out the errors for them to work better on. Isn't he outstanding? Since then, Aiden has actually been helping them with their work, so they can't help but welcome him. Wendy at this point is trembling in anger, questioning how they easily accept someone's help who works in another research lab. Logan and Nick don't seem to read the atmosphere. They even suggest having Aiden as a joint researcher. Wendy dismisses them, but Logan and Rosie persist in taking this opportunity to point out how short-staffed they are, and that they need a newbie and talented magician in the team who doesn't need a lot of training. Simply put, Aiden is reliable. Wendy feels guilty for letting them work on 3 projects just because of her personal reasons, so she agrees to talk with the Magic Stone Research Department. The next day, Aiden is starting his first day in her office. This is going to be interesting. Only one person joined the team, yet the quality of work had greatly improved. Wendy wonders why he didn't apply to the Department of Magic Power despite his impressive and accurate insights about magical gods and runes. For the past few years, there were no applicants, so Wendy didn't bother recruiting people. That aside, Aiden is more well-behaved than she expected. He's surprisingly tight-lipped about that night. However, it's quite obvious that he has a massive crush on her that even Rosie notices it. After all, Wendy is the reason why he came to the Magic Tower. He really wanted to meet her in person. Does this mean he knows about her even before? Jeez, Aiden, you're quite creepy. Wendy didn't deny that she's really famous, so she can't blame Aiden's interest in her. But she can't deny that there are also people who hate her. Shakma, who declared he would not accept new disciples, accepted a student after 30 years. He only did so because she was a genius. From the moment she realizes those who criticize her behind her back, despite her showing humility to their compliments, she then starts giving them a reason to hate her. Wendy then gives them permission to get off work at 5 p.m. Considering her team's efforts, she should at least grant their wish of having a welcome party for Aiden. As Aiden looks at her warmly, she realizes how he came to her diligently, and because of that, she became used to him. But the moment she became aware of it, the feeling of familiarity turned into awkwardness. Suddenly, Maron, Shakma's secretary, informs Wendy that Shakma has summoned her. There's nobody in this country who hasn't heard of Shakma's reputation as Moronada's great wise sage. Wendy first met him when she was very young. Despite being born as a poor farmer's daughter, Shakma came to offer her an opportunity to join the Tower of Magicians. It was an offer that she didn't hesitate to accept. Her little sister is weaker than her, so if there's one less mouth to feed, her parents wouldn't struggle to raise 2 kids. Since that day, Wendy's path became different, and Shakma became the closest to her heart, her companion in all her endeavors. When she enters his office and meets his piercing gaze, it feels like she has become a young child again. However, Shakma starts talking about hearing some interesting rumors around. Dun dun dun! The rumor is about Aiden Winter. Calling him a puppy because of how he carries food, follows Wendy around, and flutters whenever he's with her, Wendy can't disagree. But it appears she doesn't quite hate him. Aiden, who roasted all Wendy's suitors, must be great at talking. Well, that's because her suitors are all creepy. On top of that, she's in the wrong for harassing Aiden. More than anything, he didn't make her cringe. Also, there's a 5-year age difference. What can she do with a little kid as her partner? Still, Shakma advises her not to constrain herself by anything and just do what she feels like doing. Some say that it's a privilege of youth. Shakma stands and pats her shoulder, assuring her that everything will be all right. Her heart is drenched with consolation by the only person who has always been on her side and the reason why she's so immersed in work. She'll not be able to repay him in this lifetime. And so, she will never let something as trivial as her love life make him worry. Although, contrary to what she said, she is already thinking of someone, but that's only an embarrassment. When she comes back to her office, it's already past 5 p.m., and so she permits the start of Aiden's welcome party while raising a bottle of wine. Hours later, everyone's knocked out. Rosie keeps professing her love to Wendy, but before Wendy gets more annoyed, Aiden takes over and uses psychic magic so she won't resist anymore. Wendy notices that Aiden is rather strong as he carries Rosie carefully. Of course, you know that he is well built, Wendy. No need to make us jealous. Jeez. However, she suddenly realizes something. To Aiden's defense, he doesn't use hypnosis when he asks for his request. Surely, she wasn't spellbound, but it doesn't change the fact that she was unsightly and disgraceful. Wendy turns away, but Aiden holds her hand, apologizing if he ever displeased her. Wendy then pulls out her hand and walks away out of embarrassment for remembering that incident. Despite her strong remarks not to follow her, Aiden changes how he talks and firmly tells her no, like someone who has been hiding his true colors all along. Aiden firmly tells her that he won't listen. He knows exactly that Wendy's been pushing him away. Despite knowing that Wendy's not the easy type, he's still becoming impatient. Wendy feels burdened. The reason why she can't cut him off is because she showed him her vulnerable side. But surely she didn't fall for his good looks. The reason why she feels a prick in her conscience every time while pretending to give him a chance is because she wants to be consoled and comforted. Simply put, she just likes the idea of someone genuinely following her innocently. Realizing how horrible she is, she cries, and the first person who gives her a reason to do so is Aiden. She treats him coldly, believing that he will give up, but that's not the case here. What she doesn't really like is this weak side of her, seeing him crying because of her. When they settle down, Wendy clarifies that he didn't do something wrong, but she doesn't like being tied down to anyone. She doesn't believe in eternal love, or perhaps she's scared of ending up alone. Still, Aiden is persistent that Wendy's a good person. He's been looking at her all this time. He knows what she thinks of him no matter how she puts on a poker face. If he knows, then why can he still smile like that? On top of that, it was just a one-night stand, so what's so certain about feelings lasting a lifetime? Aiden at this point is confident that his feelings won't change. He likes her very much. Wendy argues that they don't even match well together, but Aiden points out how they are well matched at night. It isn't bad during the day either. Ah! Aiden pulling some indisputable facts. Don't even try to deny it, Wendy. Aiden reaches for her hand and kisses it, asking for another chance to prove how much he likes her. Wendy flinches as he keeps confessing his feelings with every touch. That time, something happened again. His hands that explore every inch of her body light an ember inside her. Judging by how he can even make such a facial expression, if someone had taken a look at Aiden now, they would have thought that she's the most beautiful woman in the world. However, Aiden puts her down, begging her not to arouse him because he doesn't want to hurt her. She suddenly presses her lips on his, saying that she likes things a little extreme. Wendy, that's illegal! After that, Wendy realizes Aiden's above-average strength and stamina. Her feelings aren't as ardent and eager as his, but she did not feel any regret after provoking him. But for her, what they have right now is enough. When Aiden comes back with a glass of water, Wendy crosses her arms, saying that she doesn't want to move. Aiden takes a sip of the water and kisses her. That's exactly how you feed Moronada's Wendy Blanchett. In the end, he's making her weak at his every gaze, every touch, and every reassuring smile. Suddenly, Aiden stops himself because Wendy has the poorest stamina among all magicians. Even a while ago, she was so out of breath that Aiden was so out of breath. I'll just leave this to your imagination, guys. Thanks to him, she comes to know her feelings, though she's a little tired. It's so cute how Aiden apologizes for making her tired. Ah! How can you stay calm about this, Wendy? She isn't certain that her feelings are the same as his, and she can't guarantee the future. Even though she feels burdened by his persistence, she doesn't hate him at all. In the bath, Wendy ponders about how she never had a proper relationship, and that there were no suitable suitors either. Now that she thinks about it, the only person she brought home is Aiden Winter. Most magicians are individualists. It is only natural to have her own personal time. Anything that can hinder that will be counted as discourtesy. Even her researchers whom she worked with for 7 years cannot enter her house. However, she easily got swayed by Aiden's charms, letting him in and even considering buying a bigger bathtub, though she used to treasure it so much, just because she wanted to share it with him. And even if there's someone invading her personal space, she feels comfortable rather than being annoyed. In her office, Rosie throws a tantrum that Aiden and Wendy left them behind last night. She's about to walk out the door, but Wendy bangs it before she can even go out. Even though she's mean to Rosie for being so dense and childish, her skills are undoubtedly fascinating. That time, the researchers made lots of reports over the past few days. This is how they come to realize that the handsome and desirable new recruit has bewitched their witch. Wendy realizes that her researchers are overworked, and so she promises to give them a long vacation once the projects end, giving Rosie and Nick time to prepare for their wedding. Rosie and Nick got engaged 3 years ago. Wendy tried to come up with a solution for them, but Rosie and Nick told her that they didn't have to get married since they were already living together. Wendy is grateful for their consideration, but she's aware of Rosie's dream about having a wedding ceremony. She can't just ignore them. Suddenly, Wendy's reminded me that it's already a month that passed. Then, the promised amount of time is already over. In her house, Wendy realizes that they might have a big chance that the Empire will grant them more aid. Moreover, since Aiden moved to her house, he has become quite responsible for other things like household chores and cooking. He is passionate, committed, and affectionate. Aiden is such husband material, perfect for a workaholic person like Wendy. Although Aiden knows almost everything about her, she barely knows anything about him. He has not even given her a proper and concrete answer. Besides, getting married is something that she can't even imagine doing. Suddenly, Aiden kisses her while she stares at the ceiling. He's so naturally romantic. OMG! It's giving, you don't have to worry about me as your husband vibe. The fact that he won't give in just shows how important this matter is to him. Aiden then bites her nose and they both genuinely laugh at each other. Oh, they're really heavenly matched. Suddenly, Aiden suggests that they should get married in his hometown, to which she agrees. This is rather new to her since she didn't have something like a hometown and a family. Except for the man standing before her, she doesn't know anything else. When the researchers successfully finish their projects with Aiden's help, Wendy volunteers to go alone in reporting the project so they can have their vacation. Rosie and Nick are touched, thinking that Wendy was just messing with them about it before. Aww, they really deserve some time off and to get married as well. In Wendy's mind, no matter where Aiden's hometown is, 3 months should be enough for the preparations. But there's one thing that has been bugging her all this time. Why won't he tell her where it is? Thinking about how the time should be enough for Rosie and Nick's wedding preparations too, she realizes that she also has a wedding ceremony to do. She slams her back on the chair and puts her legs on the table, trying to think about what to do in the wedding ceremony. When Aiden comes in, he reprimands her for her improper posture, but she's too stubborn to listen. Don't forget that this man is more stubborn than you, Wendy. He then sits at the table and asks why she's in a bad mood. Wendy exclaims about the wedding preparation that she doesn't know about. However, Aiden claims that everything is already in place. But where exactly is his hometown? This time, Wendy's getting upset. Aiden smiles, which makes her even more annoyed. You think she'll let go of you just because of your handsome face, huh? Of course, he is handsome, but Wendy's more persistent and places her foot on his chest. Aiden has no choice but to provide clues about his hometown. One thing's for sure, people do dislike this group. Aiden is hesitant to tell her where exactly his hometown is because she might get angry about it. This time, Aiden asks if she won't leave him when she finds out where it is. Wendy cups his face and assures him that as long as he still remains true to himself, she probably won't. The next day, Wendy trembles in disbelief that they are standing in front of the dragon's lair. Knowing that the hometown Aiden is referring to turns out to be the dragon's lair, enraged and shocked Wendy. So when Aiden is about to reach her hand and ask her if she's angry, she exclaims at him that she is indeed angry. Wendy continues lashing out at Aiden and yells that dragons can't even be persecuted since they're the most powerful species. As he tries to calm her down, she irritably tells him to stop. Our dear Wendy Witch is clearly on edge. Can't blame her though. What she just learned is a shocking discovery. In her mind, she ponders the fact that the dragon's lair is where every treasure is present, but right now, it doesn't appeal to her at all. She then grimaces at Aiden as she asks him if he's a dragon. Continuing, she points out how she can marry a dragon and even questions him if he had fun making a fool of her. When he replies that that isn't the case, she reiterates his origin and points out that he is no doubt 1,000 years older than her. With her patience snapping, she walks away from him, saying that she's going home. But he is quick to grab her hand and brings up the promise she made of not leaving him. But Wendy has had enough as she felt so betrayed since she trusted him so much. He explains that he has no intention of deceiving her and expresses that his feelings for her are real. He wants her to see him for who he really is because he loves her. Aiden looks like a lost puppy expressing his love for her. Wanting to cool off, she turns away from him. She then asks for his real name, to which he answers that it's just Aiden. Suddenly, he tightly hugs her from behind and expresses that he can't let go of her. Thinking that Aiden is indeed trying to be honest with her by bringing her to his lair, she realizes his sincerity since he revealed his true self and confessed his love for her. Pondering that there are still more things that Aiden is hiding from her, she asks him to lead her to his lair. In Aiden's lair, Wendy begins interrogating him and asks about her suspicions. He confirms that he indeed entered the tower because of her, so she asks him where he met her the first time. When Aiden confesses that she might think of him as a pervert, she is taken aback and accidentally spits out her drink. Hesitantly, he asks if she remembers her childhood and the place she lived at that time. Surprised, she suddenly gets up and shows a map, and then Aiden points to the part of the map where they met for the first time, the Marta province. Wendy can't believe that she met him in her province since she can't recall all the people she encountered in her village. So Aiden explains that his appearance at that time was different. With an apologetic expression, he reveals that he wasn't human at that time when they first met. Suddenly, he gets up and imitates the sound of a dog. Wendy, on the other hand, is confused by his actions when a memory flashes in her mind when she was a child and she is calling someone named Winter. So let's have a quick backstory on the day of their first meeting. When Aiden is reading a book about the dragon's declining population, he gets interrupted by Lord Beers, the leader of the dragons. When Aiden refuses to follow Lord Beers' order to go outside, Beers starts nagging at him. It reveals that Aiden is the first black dragon hatchling to spawn in 10,000 years. His clan is known to be powerful, proud, and hard to get along with. After what feels like forever nagging of Beers, he then commands Aiden to go out since Aiden has been staying in his lair for 10,000 years and he has never been outside since. What? That long? Aiden is such a homebody. Lair body dragon. Given no choice, Aiden transforms into a dog as he wanders the outside world. When he has had enough, he decides to go back. On his way back, he stumbles upon little Wendy playing with rocks in the water. When Aiden comes to check on Wendy, he gets worried about her since she is alone. Pondering the dangers, he decides to stay and look out for her. Later, she feels his presence. She gets assured knowing that it's just a dog, so she innocently nears him and even pats his head. Afterward, she introduces herself and says that she's looking for a safe place to spend the night. She shares that she feels assured with him since her family won't come looking for her anyway. Oh, our poor little Wendy. She surely had a rough childhood. Feeling a sense of security with him, she hugs him and feels his warmth. Meanwhile, Aiden ponders that it will be just fine to spend the night together with her. When morning comes, Wendy decides to play with Aiden, and then she suddenly names him Winter, as she commands him to lie down. They spend the day playing happily. When they had enough, they took a rest. Aiden keeps on observing her and ponders how talented she is with her magic. When night comes, both of them settle on the grass as they watch the stars above them, and Wendy begins narrating her life. It's revealed that she has a little sister named Amy, and that her father is struggling, so she feels like she needs to disappear to lessen the burden on her family. But despite everything she experienced with her family, she feels grateful to be born and meet her sister. Isn't she the sweetest? Warm hugs to you, our little Wendy. As another morning comes, when Aiden observes Wendy, he ponders that Wendy needs someone who can keep her company and be a family since she distanced herself from her real family. One thing that concerns Aiden is that he has to go to hibernation soon. So when he gets back to Beer's lair, he asks if there's any way to delay his hibernation. He has become fond of her in such a short time that he's willing to go great lengths just to make sure little Wendy isn't alone. That's so sweet of you, Aiden. Meanwhile, Aiden's request makes Beers laugh and warns him not to get attached to humans as they grow old and die early. But Aiden replies that maybe he could delay his hibernation just until Wendy is old. As he is about to continue his words, It seems like lightning has struck him as he realizes what he's saying and then turns away from Beers. As he walks away, Beers tells him that his first love will never work out, but he is quick to deny it, saying that he just pities Wendy and that he doesn't love her. Our Aiden is still having a hard time processing his love for Wendy, huh? When Aiden turns into a dog again and meets Wendy, his mind is disturbed about love. He keeps on denying himself that he loves her. On the other hand, when Wendy gets enough of playing with him, she pets him, making him snuggle her. As he recalls what Beers has told him, he realizes that he can't push back his hibernation. As he hopes that she won't cry when he is gone, he licks her face, making her giggle. He ponders on how she is a child, and it worries him since he has seen her vulnerable side. A few days later, unknown to Wendy, who is alone by the river, is Aiden in his human form observing her from behind. A sad expression flashes on his face as he thinks that he can't accompany her anymore. Oh no, this is so sad that they're parting ways. Out of nowhere, Beers appears in front of Aiden and tells him again that what he's feeling is love. Beers then also observes Wendy and is amazed by the way she can handle magic, and then expresses that it would be such a waste if she doesn't find a good teacher. After some provocation statements to make Aiden ask for his help, surprisingly, Aiden gives in and pleads with Beers to help Wendy. Beers is left in awe as he hears Aiden plead with him, thinking that it is indeed love that Aiden feels. Beers then assures Aiden that he'll reach out to a wizard he knows. Thanks to them, Wendy's life had a positive turn. Before Aiden went into his hibernation, he meets Wendy. And the next thing we knew, he's already awake from his hibernation. The first thing that he remembers as he wakes up is his memory of Wendy. Beers then appears and congratulates him for being a fully fledged dragon now. After throwing insults at each other, Aiden asks Beers about Wendy. Beers is surprised that he still remembers her. Beers teases Aiden and talks about the possibility of Wendy being dead since 20 years have passed. Angered, Aiden grabs Beers and forces him to tell him where Wendy is. After calming down the enraged Aiden, Beers reveals that Wendy is under the care of Archwizard Shakma, and that she is safe under the Archwizard's care. When asked if he will get to see Wendy, he replies that he just needs to check on her. Beers warns him again not to get attached to humans and that Wendy has forgotten about him already. Determined, Aiden asks where he can find the Archwizard Shakma. Upon learning that it is in the Tower of Magic, he immediately makes his way to the said place. As he explores the area, he keeps on hearing words about Wendy and realizes that she's grown quite famous. When he comes across a place that lingers Wendy's scent, he enters it and looks for her. It seems like heaven has heard his wish since just moments later, Wendy calls for his attention. OMG! Their reunion after 20 years! Stunned by her presence, he ponders how much he has missed her. Suddenly, his heart starts beating fast and is confused by it when he realizes what he's feeling when a memory of Beers telling him about love flashes. Seeing that he doesn't feel well, Wendy quickly checks on him and presses her hand on his forehead, making him blush more. Just look at that in-love Aiden blushing so hard. Isn't he so adorable? Realizing that he has a bit of a fever, she asks him to go home and get some rest, to which he nervously agrees after some nagging from her. After patting his head for being a good boy, he is left emotional as he recalls the time that Wendy also patted his head when he was in his dog form. That's when he realizes that Wendy was his first love all along. Now, back to the present, Aiden shares that he joined the Magic Tower to meet her. Reasoning that the moment he looked into her eyes again, he realized that he had been in love with her the whole time. When he continues recalling how he felt when they first met, Wendy gets embarrassed, recalling what she had told Aiden in the past. With his gentle expression, he holds her hand and places it on his chest as he expresses that he'd give her his heart. Despite her trying to push him away, he still expresses his affection by kissing her hand. Aiden really knows how to be sweet to Wendy. Who wouldn't want to be swooned by his gesture? Can you kiss our hands too, please? Even though Wendy is assured by Aiden's love, she still worries that there might be something that he still hides from her. Afterward, when Wendy wakes up from her sleep, Aiden knocks on her door and checks on her. When he addresses her with formalities, after answering that it's already noontime, she asks if she can stop him from talking to her that way. She continues by telling him that it sounds weird since he is older than her, but Aiden insists that he will keep on talking to her that way. As she stares at him, she ponders why he is such a gentle person despite him being a dragon. As if reading her mind, Aiden tells her that he only acts the way she sees him towards her. Isn't that such a cutie? He only reserves his soft spot for her. Later, Aiden serves Wendy a meal he cooked by himself, and he gets happy as she compliments his cooking. Thinking how Aiden has gone to great lengths for her sake, she can't help but think that it is hard not to like him. But at the back of her mind, she's still having trust issues. Out of the blue, she asks if dragons get married, to which he answers that dragons usually live alone, but it's also not uncommon for them to have companions. Wendy is left sad, thinking that she will die early if she is his companion, and even though she will live longer, her limit is only 150 years, and that's if she's on the same level as her teacher. After some moments of thinking, she asks him if he knows how to become a companion, shocking him. His mood then instantly brightens up as he asks her if she's really going to be his companion. She confirms that she is sure of doing it and tells him that she isn't the type to lie, unlike someone else, indirectly referring to him. She still can't get over the fact that he lied to her and is still mad at him. Wendy then asks what to do to become a companion, to which he answers that it's simply all about the vows. When she agrees to take the vows, he is so happy that he lovingly embraces her. Even though she's still a bit mad at him, she can't get herself to hate him, so she hugs him back and pats his head. Suddenly, she remembers her past love getting married, which changes her mood. But Aiden, being the sweetest guy ever, starts kissing her, to which she responds willingly. Can we have some kisses too, our sweet Aiden? Later, Aiden keeps insisting on being by her side while she reads a book. Suddenly, a golden bird appears and Aiden is quick to grab it. Piqued with curiosity, Wendy checks the bird and asks who sent it. Knowing that it is from Beers shocks her, and she asks Aiden if he did something wrong, to which he profusely denies. As Aiden is about to go on his way to respond to Beers' call while carrying the bird, it suddenly flies to Wendy. The next thing they know, they get teleported. While Wendy and Aiden are arguing about the bird, Beers appears. Beers tells them that he called them both and that he's always wanted to see them together. Aiden exclaims to Beers that he has no right to summon her. Beers continues to provoke Aiden, which only makes him angrier. Seeing him angry surprises her, but she tries to calm him down, saying that it would be a waste of an opportunity not to greet the Dragon Lord. So when Aiden lets go of her, she observes Beers from head to toe. Beers then asks her if she's already captivated by his appearance, to which she reluctantly agrees, making Aiden jealous. Chuckling, Beers asks Wendy about Shakma and shares that they are friends, adding compliments about the exceptional wizard. Both of them happily share their thoughts about Shakma, making Aiden feel left out. They then come to the topic of Beers being the one who looks out for the dragon hatchlings. Beers explains the reasons behind it and brings up the fact that dragons' hearts are the core of their magical power. It is revealed that there was once an event 400 years ago when a party was able to kill a dragon, but they were still able to inflict big damage on the dragon slayer too. Beers continues that hatchlings are prone to being targeted by stronger dragons, so he looks after them until they become adult dragons. He reveals that he is the one who raised Aiden, and suddenly, he gets emotional as he expresses his sadness that Aiden is getting married. Suddenly, he apologizes to her while kissing her hand, and Aiden is quick to disrupt the two. Someone's surely been jealous since earlier. After Wendy calms down Aiden, Beers interrupts them, offering to be the witness of their vows and prepare a gift, which Wendy happily accepts. Wendy expresses her interest in rare artifacts as a gift. Wanting to give her something that could exceed artifacts, Aiden offers his dragon heart to her. Taken aback, Wendy is quick to refuse his offer, and despite Aiden's remarks that he belongs to her, she remains firm in refusing his offer. And then Aiden embraces her with a sad smile on his face. Our poor Aiden, willing to give everything to his Wendy. Can we just be the ones to have your heart? Wendy, in her mind, asks for forgiveness from her teacher for the state she is in now. She thought she would never marry anyone, but now she's going to marry a dragon. Despite the fact that she will be married, she'll continue doing her magical power research. As they are about to start this ceremony for taking the vows, Beers expresses his opinion and shares how Aiden is head over heels for Wendy. When Wendy asks Aiden about it, he proudly expresses that he indeed experienced love at first sight with her. He really isn't ashamed to express his true feelings to her. After some talking about Aiden's personality, Aiden impatiently tells Beers to get on with the oath already. So without further ado, Beers begins saying the oath and asks both of them if they agree with it. Aiden is quick to agree with the oath, while Wendy is still processing her decision. After some recalling of how Aiden acts towards her, she has made her choice to repay Aiden's sincerity and says, I do. As Wendy and Aiden hold hands, a light surrounds them when suddenly she feels a pang in her chest and drops to the ground. She feels like her heart is about to burst, and when Aiden confesses that it's because he gave her his heart as a gift, she gets angry. Outraged, Wendy starts summoning her magical powers and attacks Aiden. Good thing Beers is able to get a hold of her. As she faces Aiden, she angrily exclaims at him that he has no right to alter her life. This is turning bad. It shows that the significance of handing over the heart of a dragon goes beyond as a gift. Now that Wendy has Aiden's heart, she is no longer human. Still enraged, Wendy nears Aiden and slaps him. Ouch! That surely hurts. She then grabs him and angrily lashes out at him for what he has done. Continuing, she points out how she even agreed to marry him after finding out that he lied about his identity. And now he tricked her again. Aiden explains that he is just afraid that she will abandon him. Still, his justification doesn't calm her, but rather enrages her more. As she turns her back away from him, she firmly tells him not to follow her, or else he won't be able to see her again. As she passes beers, she apologizes for the damages she did to his lair. She then excuses herself as she feels the urge of emotions that Aiden is feeling and teleports away from them. Seeing the despaired Aiden, Beers nags at him about the course of actions he should have taken and talks about how impatient he is. Enraged, Aiden replies that even though he can wait for Wendy, no matter how long it may take for her to love him back, he cannot let her die first. Our poor Aiden is surely in so much pain. You should have talked things over first with Wendy. Later on, Wendy and Rosie are having tea together. Rosie can't help but observe that Wendy is angry about something, but the latter just denies it. After insisting that she is lying about what she truly feels, Wendy confesses that she is venting her anger. Rosie then assures her that it's fine since she often does it, and they talk about their colleagues in the research division. After discussing some matters, Wendy then thinks about how she couldn't just stay still after what happened between her and Aiden. Since his heart has melted with hers, she can also feel all of his emotions, and it bothers her, adding that he can also feel her innermost feelings. Seeing how Wendy is spacing out, Rosie asks her if it is Aiden that's causing her to be in a bad mood. Oh, you just hit the bullseye, Rosie. Calling Aiden a jerk only confirms that she is upset with him. Wendy figures that after knowing each other for 7 years, it would be more strange if Rosie did not notice how miserable she is. Suddenly, Rosie mentions that Aiden has finally got on her nerves. Seeing Wendy's confusion, she explains that no one has ever succeeded in winning Wendy's heart. However, she feels like Aiden is in a hurry, and it probably makes Wendy uncomfortable. Rosie then tells her that it is Aiden's fault that Wendy is mad at him. Wendy agrees and states that she can't forgive him. When asked what he did to make her mad, she replies that she can't tell her and that she is forbidden from mentioning his name. Rosie asks her what she will do now. Rosie is pleasantly surprised that Wendy volunteers to help with her wedding. Rosie is incredibly grateful that she is helping her sort things out. Yay! A wedding is coming! That is how the two of them find themselves in town. Wendy is going over the top in their shopping for the new house, and Rosie is left to comprehend how expensive everything is. However, Wendy ignores her complaints and tells Rosie that she has to go with the flow. She assures her that it is not expensive for her because their salary is different. She has accumulated wealth since it's been a while since she became a third-tier researcher. Once again, Rosie is amazed by her. We are too, that's for sure. If only I had funds like hers. She even decides to go to a different street to continue their shopping. However, her mood is dampened when she remembers the devastated expression on Aiden's face. It only makes her want to spend more money. Retail therapy indeed. By the time the two of them have finished shopping, they are beyond exhausted. Rosie still wonders how Wendy managed to have that much money, and Wendy simply replies that it is because she's a genius. Rosie voices that she is really full of herself, and Wendy has to remind her that she's still her boss. Rosie asks why she doesn't go artifact shopping instead since it is her favorite. Wendy is startled, and she thinks that no other artifact can satisfy her anymore since she has the greatest inside of her, a dragon's heart. She opts to change the topic and asks Rosie if she or her brother Logan needs anything. Rosie informs her that Logan basically just slept since the start of the vacation. A time well spent if you ask me. Who doesn't want to laze around every once in a while? Wendy notices that it's almost late and inquires why Nick is yet to come home. Rosie tells her that he went to the temple to submit the paperwork. Wendy knows for sure that they are giving him a hard time for being an employee of the Magic Tower, so she tells Rosie to go rescue her prince. Later on, as she is having a leisure bath, she ponders how idiotic Aiden is for giving her his heart. If she dies, he will die with her. She tries to assess what she has to do. Should she turn him away as punishment? Suddenly, an onslaught of Aiden's emotions is rushing to her heart, and she is enraged that Aiden is in despair when she is the actual victim here. Out of nowhere, a crow lands on her head, one that she instantly recognizes. It's her master's pet. Shakma has come to visit, and he asks her if she has calmed down. She denies that she is distressed at all, but he sees through her. He then reveals that he knows that Aiden is a black dragon all along. She is surprised by this, especially when he informs her that he met him when he was on his way to meet Lord Beers in the first place. Maybe her fate has always been entangled with the dragons. Hearing this from her master enrages Wendy. She doesn't want such a fate. He then asks her if she has beaten him up, and when she confirms that she did, he is glad since he doesn't have to do it himself. We stan a protective Dumbledore-like grandpa. But when he mentions her forgiving him, she exclaims that the guy isn't reflecting on what he did. She tries to calm down, but her master shifts his focus to how fascinating it is that she is a human with a dragon's heart. He is so interested, in fact, that he tries to convince her to let him do experiments on her. As expected, she refuses him and begs him to take her situation seriously instead. She mentions that she has become stronger than him and she doesn't want it. Shakma looks at her challengingly and asks her if she is certain about that. He then begins saying that there is still time before he dies, and he wants her to tell him if she wants to die as a human. He wants to do what she wants before he passes. Wendy tries to keep it together and asks him to kill Aiden instead of her when the time comes. What? So this is an exit plan? Wendy has just gotten back from doing work for her master despite being on vacation. She has come to realize that she has definitely gotten her workaholic ideals from her master. In her room, she instantly feels the presence of someone. She asks loudly if he has come to reflect on his actions. You guessed it, Aiden Winters is here. The poor guy still risked everything just to see her. He is so in love with her. I am so jealous. He begs for her forgiveness. She blatantly tells him no, and he trembles from her forceful words. Seeing his expression, Wendy comes to terms that she can never really hate him. She feels how sincere he is, but it is not enough to convince her. She wants to live as Wendy Blanchett and die as Wendy Blanchett. She tells him that he doesn't know anything, and he tells her she's wrong. She touches his face, and he kisses it. He laments that he can't tell her she regrets it because it will be a lie. He only wants to be loved by her and extend his time to persuade her. He is sorry and he loves her. He begs her not to hate him. I know he's wrong, but my heart aches when he cries. I want to hug him. Wendy tells him that she has never hated him. As she reaches for his face, she remarks that loving a dragon is tough. She wipes the tears off his face and states how she can't resist someone who is as attractive as him. Aiden tells her he loves her. However, she makes it clear that she will no longer tolerate him fooling her anymore. She wants him to promise that he will never deliberately deceive her again. If Aiden takes the vow with her heart, that means that once he breaks it, she will also lose her life. Without only a second pause, he promises to be honest with her for the rest of his life. She takes his hand and she kisses his knuckles. This vow is heavier than the one they took before, so she considers this as their actual wedding. Her devious side comes out and she bites his ring finger. She shows it to him, claiming that it is their wedding ring. Aiden is embarrassed and acting cute once again, especially when she offers her hand in return, wanting him to bite her as well. Let's just say that they had a long night after that. Later on, Wendy can barely move due to their activities. Aiden is apologetic and she can't help but hug him because of his cuteness. Aiden still tenses even though she's hugged him before, and he reasons that it is because of her. He hugs her back and exclaims how excited he is. She then tells him that she is supposed to visit Rosie to help her with her wedding, so she asks him for some stamina supplements. She asks him if he would like to try as well, and he inquires rather enthusiastically if they can continue with their activities if he does. Oh, Aiden! Get a hold of yourself! Why are you so insatiable? Wendy remarks that she'll die if they do. After their conversation, she flops down on the bed out of exhaustion. Even though her vacation has just begun, it feels like she's been through many things. Just days ago, she and Aiden were fighting, and now she is peacefully lying next to him. Aiden smiles at her warmly, and she lets herself drift back to sleep. Aiden watches her with a fond expression. He hopes she has sweet dreams and hugs her to sleep as well. So adorable. Is this the honeymoon stage? I don't know at this point. Their relationship is so complicated. Wendy is rather unimpressed that Rosie's and Nick's wedding preparation is already done. She still thinks that the whole thing is lacking even though she has already paid for everything and has made sure that the celebration will last for 5 days despite the protests of the couple. When Wendy sees that her extravagant ideas have been crossed out of the list, she makes her ire known. Aiden expertly maneuvers the situation by asking them if the 4 things for the bride's happiness have been decided yet. Rosie enthusiastically discusses her choices with him. Logan then declares that it is time for them to rest since everything is ready. However, Wendy insists that there has to be more to prepare. Turns out, Wendy is just so used to working all the time that she is anxious when she has nothing to do. She is using the wedding as an excuse to have to work. As the researchers are discussing their boss's inability to relax, Aiden offers Wendy some tea, and to their everlasting surprise, Wendy gets out of her stupor and accepts the offer. She then stands to announce that Aiden and she are going somewhere. She is visibly more relaxed now, much to the confusion of the others. Turns out the two of them are going to visit Shakma. When the old man sees them, he enthusiastically calls them his research materials. Shakma is rather fascinated that Aiden is using honorifics with him. Meanwhile, Wendy recalls how his words in the past helped her go back to normal with Aiden. His assurance about being a dragon slayer has grounded her. Suddenly, Shakma declares that he wants to speak with Aiden alone. Wendy is shocked and reluctant to leave them alone, but Aiden assures her that he won't lose, and Shakma explains that he will not eat up the boy. Oh, this is gonna be good! Once they are left alone, Shakma puts up a soundproof barrier. Aiden asks what his purpose actually is, but Shakma replies that he only wants to see his true colors. The old man asks him to sit down, and he has no choice but to comply. Shakma remarks that he doesn't want to actually talk with someone who has made Wendy, whom he treats as a granddaughter, cry. Aiden is seething at this point, and through gritted teeth, he warns him that he is barely holding himself back from ripping him limb from limb. That's morbid, Aiden. His puppy-like personality completely melts when Wendy is not around. Shakma confidently voices out that Wendy will never forgive him if he harms him, much to Aiden's annoyance. Shakma continues by mentioning how promising Wendy's talent is. Aiden asks if this is what he really wants to say after creating such an uncomfortable atmosphere. The old man points out that he must really love Wendy if he's holding back this much. And once again, Aiden's brutal side bleeds out when he tells him that he'll be dead if it weren't for his love for Wendy. However, Aiden panics when the old man implies that he can't refuse a request from a lovely student, knowing exactly who this student is. He stands up and determinedly makes his way to the door. He can't let Wendy see that man again. Before he can yak it open, he realizes that Wendy is not really his. He merely forced his relationship on her. He leans against the door, and with tears on his face, he knows that he can't make any mistake lest Wendy hate him. Oh, Aiden, I hate seeing you cry. Meanwhile, Wendy is planning on asking Aiden what he talked about with her master. She makes her way to the lab since it's been a while. However, when she enters, she is greeted by an unexpected person, Kane, her unrequited love of 10 years. Kane W. Everward, the dreaded ex-not lover, is the crown prince of the Empire, and seeing him again is only awkward for Wendy. She is bothered that Aiden's heart will know. Kane tells her that it is upsetting that he is not the one she came there for. He asks her why she hasn't been answering his letters and hasn't gone to see him after the wedding. He even has to ask their teacher for help in order to see her. She explains that she didn't want to disturb him, but he rubs her head and tells her that he will always have time for his best friend. Ouch, no wonder she was in so much pain. The best friend zone? That's the worst place to be. He smiles at her and she recalls how much she admires his lips. He is always cold to others, but is soft and warm to her. He has made her feel special. However, she is only a best friend. She had loved him deeply. They met when Shakma introduced them to one another, for they would be studying together from then on. She was not well received by the Crown Prince instantly, even calling her a mere child. Even though he is also a child, this kid talks funny. They used to fight all the time to the point of wanting to kill each other, but they had to take classes and do homework together. One time, Wendy overhears a couple of students talking ill of her because she has become Shakma's student. They even accuse her of having ulterior motives with the prince. With an impassive expression, she throws a bucket of water at them and summons her magic to show why exactly she was chosen as Shakma's disciple. Those two ran away fearing her, even calling her a monster. Left alone, she lets a few tears fall from her eyes before wiping them away. Unbeknownst to her, Kane is actually there observing her. We continue with the flashback, and after the incident with the other kids, Wendy is sitting on the bridge when Kane approaches her. He asked her what she was doing, but she told him it was none of his business. He then told her that she was always acting mean, that's why no one's approached her. He even called her a prickly hedgehog. Wendy stood up, reminding him that it was he who started their fights in the first place. She declared that if something offended her, she would do whatever she wanted. He then pointed out that she doesn't really do anything with her magic, and she reasoned that it was because someone could die. He laughed at her for being soft-hearted. He then took her hand and told her that she just needed to throw a punch at them so they wouldn't die. From then on, Cain would kick the backs of people who gossiped about her, and they conspired to mess the room up before running away. The two of them were a known troublemaking duo. Wendy is pulled back to the present when Cain complains that she's not listening to him. She apologizes and reasons that she's recalling their time together in the tower. The two converse with one another like they used to. Back then, she was always hiding her overflowing emotions even though Cain was a good friend. But now, she is comfortable facing him once more. The prince remarks that it is good that he is married, and she retorts that he is just bragging. He replies that it is more like a conclusion. When her confusion becomes evident, he tells her not to mind his words while rubbing her head again. What could he mean by that? Before he leaves, she calls out to him and gives her long overdue congratulations for his wedding. However, despite her enthusiasm, Cain merely gives his short thanks. Instead, he asks her to visit him and not ignore his letters anymore. Left alone, she speaks loudly, asking Aiden if he is there. As predicted, he appears and instantly tackles her in a hug. Wendy lets Aiden hug her, and she asks if he's really that jealous. He begs her not to meet him again because he's afraid that he'll take her away. He just hasn't said anything before because he's afraid that she'll hate him. She replies that she would not have waited until that moment if she were to hate him. However, she can't really say that she loves him either. What she knows for sure is that she likes him, and it is obvious that it is enough for Aiden because he shakily tells her that he likes her a lot too. They embrace one another, and Wendy is sure that her feelings have changed because she has someone like Aiden who holds her so tightly. Meanwhile, we become aware of the true feelings of Cain as he talks to Shakma. He is aware that Wendy has given up on him, and Shakma has to remind him not to be greedy. The prince is well aware of his position, and he has a limited number of people he could be with, but none of them is Wendy, the one he truly loves. Oh no! I feel so bad for him! Wendy's love from before was not an actual unrequited one! He wants Wendy to be happy, and she can't do that if he drags her into the ugly world of power that his position has to offer. Later on, it is time for the wedding, and Wendy feels like she is marrying off her daughter. Rosie is gorgeous in her dress, and even though she claims not to be nervous, she is trembling. However, her state is nothing compared to her brother when he arrived with Aiden and Nick. Nick is nervous, but he instantly cheers up when he sees his wife-to-be, marveling at how beautiful she is. Logan, on the other hand, declares his hatred for Nick for marrying his sister, even though they have been living together for years. Aiden and Wendy step out for a moment, and she questions him why he is constantly smiling as if hiding something. However, he replies that it is nothing. Suddenly, Hannah, Aiden's actual boss, greets them. She talks about Aiden's usefulness and how Wendy should return what she's borrowed when the time comes. When Hannah bids them farewell, Wendy is visibly glaring at her. Ah, are you being possessive, Wendy, dear? Wendy has brought rum for Nick to help with his nervousness. Rosie and Logan ask for some as well, but she has only brought one small bottle. Logan is clinging to her, and she asks him to let go. Aiden, with a polite smile, has to reiterate what she just said. Although, I'm pretty sure that he's just jealous that someone is touching Wendy. The wedding is about to start, and before the couple can proceed with the entrance, she congratulates them. She watches the two and notes how similar they are to Cain and his wife. All she asks is that they will be filled with joy and happiness. Aiden and she do not stay for the whole thing, bidding Logan farewell when the couple enters. Outside, she asks Aiden how long he intends to suffer in silence. He reasons that he doesn't want her to hate him. That is when she realizes that he thinks she can hate him so easily. She then tells him that she is requesting that he be transferred to her department. He is taken aback, and she explains that she will not use him and give him back, as Hannah said, because he is hers just as she is his. That is why he can be jealous of her all he wants. He is hesitant because he gets jealous easily and might annoy her, but she teases him that he annoys her all the time. He grins brightly and she kisses his cheeks. They embrace as she recalls Hannah's words. She can't take Aiden away from her. She is even more feisty than we originally thought. Later on, while she is working, Aiden insists that she eat some snacks, and she ponders how she has changed so far. She is even eating snacks when she isn't used to. Aiden's transfer request is going smoothly. They are understaffed already, so management has taken this positively. However, she needs permission from Evelyn, who hasn't returned from wherever she is. This is just getting her stressed, but then Aiden takes her hand and kisses it to express how glad he is that she doesn't want to let him go. She pulls him towards her and is about to kiss him when they hear knocking. OMG, were they caught? Logan is looking for Wendy when he sees her with Aiden so close. Wendy asks Aiden to leave. Though disappointed, he still follows her request. She notices Logan looks much better, but still tells him to rest more. Logan says he cannot because he does not have hobbies. He asks if she has one, but Wendy says that is basically her whole life. Logan feels Aiden is replacing him, but Wendy dismisses that, though she does ask the administration to transfer Aiden to their department, which shocks him. Poor Logan. They still need permission from the head of the Arcane Crystal Division, whom Wendy does not get along with. Both are worried about possible issues, especially since they are taking a talented researcher from another department. Aiden offers help, and Wendy accepts. Wendy knows Logan is a great help, but she cannot leave everything to him. She acknowledges the Tower of Magic is a government organization, so it is political. Logan finds a letter summoning him to the palace. On the way to Wendy's office, Logan asks why he gets all the credit when he's just a researcher. But Wendy argues he does everything himself. She asks if they think she will take the credit after making him do all the work. Logan does not refuse, and Wendy says it is an opportunity. She knows he will be summoned because of the large-scale teleportation magic rune's value to the kingdom in military and commercial use. While reading the letter, Aiden notices Wendy is included, which shocks her and pleases Logan since he will not be alone. Logan points out the prince's seal, making Aiden mad, so he asks to go with them. At the quarry, Wendy and Aiden are flying very close. So Wendy asks for space, but Aiden refuses, saying he will let go once they land. In her mind, Wendy admits she enjoys it. Aiden asks to go with her to the palace, and though hesitant, Wendy agrees. She asks why, saying he lacks nothing, but Aiden says he just wants to be useful. Aiden is so cute! Wendy says she wants someone who can stay by her side, not just someone successful, but always busy. This makes Aiden happy, and he promises to always be what she needs. Wendy meets Evelyn, the head of the Arcane Crystal Division, and is already exhausted since she cannot push back too much without being obvious. Evelyn asks about Aiden's transfer, and while Wendy thinks of ways to convince her, Evelyn unexpectedly agrees, which shocks her. Evelyn explains she does not mix personal feelings with work and has no reason to refuse. She also says she does not dislike Wendy out of jealousy, but because Wendy was too focused on chasing her teacher's shadow, making her seem lost. Now, Evelyn sees that Wendy has finally stepped out of it. At home, Wendy and Aiden sleep together, but Wendy keeps thinking about Evelyn's words. She realizes it is time to step out of her master's shadow and aim higher. Aiden wakes, asks if she cannot sleep, says he only dreams of her, and goes back to sleep after confirming she is fine. Wendy feels happy hearing this and remembers their promise to always stay together. On the day of the summon, when the three meet, Wendy notices Aiden has been on edge since morning, but he does not answer when she asks what's wrong. Logan is nervous, so Aiden offers him medicine to avoid nausea. Wendy jokingly comforts him, and they teleport to the palace. At the palace, Logan explains their research to the nobles. The prince comments it would be useful if used correctly, but James Landell raises possible issues, leading to many negative remarks. Logan cannot respond, while Wendy thinks James and the others do not even understand their research. Still, the prince recognizes it as an amazing accomplishment and worthy of fourth-level accolades, which makes James angry. Logan mentions Wendy, so the prince immediately reacts. Wendy and Aiden realize it and ask if this is his plan. The prince orders her to go to the city of Rahamarla to get permission to install the runes. Wendy tries to refuse, but it is made clear it is a crown order, so she angrily agrees. She asks for Aiden to join her, and when questioned, clarifies he has been transferred. The prince watches them holding hands with no expression. Later, Logan asks if Wendy will speak to the prince, but she says she might become a murderer if she gets near him. She is fine with being sent on trips and she knows he cares for her, but she does not understand why he is angry this time. She wonders what he would ask for if he already has a beautiful wife. Wendy loudly says she will enjoy the travel, shocking everyone, while Aiden is happy remembering she held his hand. Aiden is so cute. At the office, the trio discusses their long commute. Wendy considers teleporting but opts for the mundane route to avoid suspicion. Logan says that it's their opportunity to ask for a raise. He also asks Wendy to take care of herself. Wendy says she won't have to worry about that because Aiden is with her, and Aiden happily agrees to take care of her. Logan continues to nag her, so she asks him just to go home. Later, Aiden asks if she often gets hurt on trips like this, but Wendy tells him not to worry because she can take care of herself. However, Aiden knows she is easily dragged into things, especially if something bad happens. Wendy is speechless. She reaches for Aiden's hand and asks for forgiveness for using him. Aiden says that at least she is aware and tells her she doesn't have to say sorry. Wendy is happy that his mood has improved and thinks it's time to tell him about Kane, even though she doesn't have feelings for him now. But before she can finish, Aiden stops her and says it's okay because everyone already knows. This shocks her and makes her shy, realizing everyone is aware. She thinks of how thoughtful everyone is for not embarrassing her over her one-sided feelings. Wendy makes it clear that she's over Kane. Aiden thanks her for telling him, but mentions it's okay because he's using everything he has to win her over, including his soft attitude and the face she loves so much. Wendy pushes him away, but she cannot deny those facts. Aiden confesses his feelings of jealousy for the people who were in her life before him. He asks her to be easy on him, even though he is a dragon. Wendy cannot stand how adorable and lovable her dragon is. They look adorable. At Wendy's home, Aiden packs many things he thinks Wendy might need. Wendy tells him to hurry, suggesting they buy supplies along the way. Aiden notices a key she's holding. She explains it's a magic key protecting her home and the artifact inside. Wendy gives Aiden the key. He asks if she's giving him the house. Wendy offers a bigger one, but Aiden prefers this house for the memories, though he admits they need more storage. Wendy asks about Buyer. Aiden smiles, telling her to forget him. Wendy tries to apologize for destroying his lair since he's the Dragon Lord, but Aiden says it's fine. Wendy takes his hand as they walk. Aiden asks if she'll drink, offering to care for her. Wendy replies that her nights are already exciting enough, making him blush. They enter a bar where Wendy introduces Aiden as her lover. She tells the master she cannot resist his charm. Planning their trip to Rahamarla, she trades several contracts for 2 horses. She explains that official travel requires leaving a trail, so teleporting is out. Aiden asks about the rewards. The master confirms they are rare artifacts, not money, and stay safe. They set off immediately. Later, a carriage surrounded by mercenaries is stopped by 2 mysterious figures. At Rahamarla, the guards record their passage. Wendy notes they seem new, which is better, but she does not explain why. Wendy wants a restaurant lunch, but Aiden insists on cooking dinner to build healthy habits. When Wendy claims he treats her like a child, Aiden counters that his nightly actions prove otherwise. He teases her about his heartbeat while she gets flustered. The restaurant is crowded, but Wendy's friend Haley from the Intelligence Guild intervenes. To ensure Wendy eats, Aiden accepts Haley's offer of a table. Inside, Haley admires Aiden's looks until Wendy stops her. Haley pressures Wendy into a secret bodyguard contract. Wendy refuses until Sir Eulis is mentioned, forcing her to accept. Haley calls Wendy a useful tool, making Wendy reflect on her reputation. She realizes this is Haley's way of caring, though she immediately regrets agreeing. Wendy reflects on how often she is taken advantage of, feeling like a pushover and missing her cold reputation from the tower. Aiden asks if she's okay and if he can remove his hood. Wendy tells him to keep it on to avoid unwanted attention, amazed he has not been kidnapped yet. Aiden claims he only cares for her, making Wendy wonder why he confesses so constantly. She thinks about how oblivious he is to his own popularity, both now and back at the Magic Tower, and wonders if it is the same among dragons. When Aiden asks what she is thinking, Wendy admits she's thinking of him. A blushing Aiden asks for a kiss, but Wendy refuses since they are in public. She promises it will happen once the client is safe. Suddenly, sensing danger, Wendy casts a lightning storm, alerting everyone to an orc attack. She defeats them all, happy to let off some steam. One client comments that she is not bad. However, as they talk, Wendy spots a white-haired girl hugging Aiden, which makes her furious. While being hugged by the girl, Aiden is visibly shocked. Wendy grows angry seeing the girl's hands on his chest. Aiden immediately pushes her away and runs to Wendy. Wendy pats his clothes where the girl touched him, saying they're dirty. Noticing the male client, Aiden hugs Wendy and asks who he is. The client thanks them for the laugh, but Wendy decides to charge extra since entertainment is not in the contract. Aiden blocks Wendy's eyes to protect them, but Wendy says his face will heal any damage, irritating the client. The man notes it is only rude if he is human, leading Wendy to realize he is also a dragon. He introduces himself as Simone, speaking so only they can hear. Wendy asks Aiden why he did not just dodge the girl's hug. As she spirals with jealousy, Aiden tells her he must keep his distance for a while. This shocks Wendy as he has never left her side before. Aiden leaves with the girl, and by the next day, he's not returned. Though she trusts him, Wendy is furious. Simone tries to touch Wendy, but she slaps him. Simone claims he is taking Aiden's place since Aiden took his. He suggests Wendy does not have to stay loyal to Aiden, implying Aiden could be cheating. Wendy rebukes him, but Simone admits he loves watching humans get jealous as he moves closer to her. Wendy immediately kicks Simone out because he annoys her, but she cannot forget his words about her jealousy. She expects Aiden to return early since he never lets her skip meals, but when the door opens, it is Simone. Disappointed, Wendy claims she is not hungry. Simone asks if she intends to let things continue this way. Wendy remains silent, knowing she is soft regarding her feelings, but she gathers her resolve to look for him. She refuses Simone's escort, threatening to kick him again. Wendy is determined to find out why Aiden spent the night with another woman without explanation. At the table, Wendy cannot focus because Aiden and the girl are right beside them. Just as she's about to confront the girl for being clingy, she notices how beautiful the stranger is. Simone telepathically reveals her name is Juliet, his kin, and that she and Aiden grew up together in Byer's Den. Wendy wonders if they are like siblings since Aiden looks at her so coldly. Simone is shocked when Wendy responds via telepathy, and she warns him not to underestimate her. She questions why they need 3 elves, the secret Simone is trying to protect, noticing their features despite the hoods. Simone refuses to answer, and as Wendy stands to leave, he knocks her out to prevent her from causing trouble for Aiden. The other men cannot stop staring at Juliet's beauty. Juliet asks Aiden to walk with her, but he ignores her, spotting Simone hugging Wendy. Simone claims Wendy is merely exhausted, though he actually dampened her magic under the guise of helping her. Aiden and Simone have a brief standoff, but when Aiden sees the look in Wendy's eyes, he backs off, making her feelings worse. Wendy realizes she only feels this way because she let Aiden into her heart. She promises not to let things stay like this. Later that night, Aiden realizes someone is following him. He grabs the person, only to be startled to see it is Wendy. Wendy grabs his collar and kisses him, fearing she might see repulsion in his eyes. But Aiden only blushes. Wendy remarks it is good he still likes her, as he has been ignoring her without a proper explanation. Aiden tries to reason with her, but Wendy is not having it, noting she has barely seen him. Aiden asks for forgiveness, explaining that Juliet is more incessant than he expects. Wendy demands a full explanation, but Aiden just hugs her. As Wendy begins to reach back to hug him, she hears Juliet calling for him. No! Juliet's shouting prompts Simone to intervene. He mentions her parents asked him to watch her, but Juliet insists she is grown and claims they are his parents too. Wendy quickly casts noise cancellation runes, though she doubts they can fool dragons. She hears that Juliet has searched for Aiden since leaving the den, believing their reunion is fate. Simone mocks her, asking if she truly expects to win Aiden's heart after 1,000 years of failure. He points out that Aiden only obeys her now for a specific reason, while secretly helping Wendy strengthen her runes. Simone tells Wendy telepathically that her spells won't work on dragons and demands thanks. Wendy is annoyed at Simone, but thanks him for letting her spend the night with Aiden. In the morning, Aiden explains that Juliet is the first hatchling in ages, making her spoiled by the ancient dragons. He keeps his distance because he fears the ancients might target Wendy if they discover their relationship. He promises protection, but Wendy worries about the scale of a dragon war. Aiden confirms he hid their shared dragon heart with a spell. When Aiden asks about Simone, Wendy dismisses it, though Aiden remains suspicious. Later, Simone notices Wendy's improved mood and shamelessly asks for a kiss. Wendy refuses with disgust, reaffirming her love for Aiden. Undeterred, Simone admits he's beginning to mean his flirtatious words. Simone says he always likes things that aren't his, which irritates Wendy, so she smacks his hands away. Suddenly, someone shouts that it's an ambush. Wendy casts a spell and sees Aiden safe with Juliet. Noticing the enemy, Wendy asks Simone why an armed militia is attacking, but he remains silent. Wendy hears a cry and sees someone being taken. She teleports and immediately knocks the man out. The person thanks her, and Wendy realizes they are an animorph. She figures out that Simone robbed a slave market and can only think of how she'll get revenge on Haley next time. After the fight and Wendy heals the Animorphs, Aiden, Simone, and Juliet arrive. Juliet rudely asks who Wendy is to summon them, but Aiden quickly silences her. When Wendy asks about robbing the slave market, Simone claims it is Juliet's idea because she grew close to the Animorphs. Wendy warns that the militia knows their base and might return. Juliet claims protecting them is her job, but Wendy informs her the contract ends at the outskirts of Louisville City and never mentioned a slave market. Aiden backs her up, so Simone offers extra compensation. Wendy suggests destroying the enemy base to end it, but Juliet says they always escape. Wendy then thinks of a perfect plan involving a very handsome bait. Juliet is nagging at Wendy. Luckily, Aiden is there to block her ears. Simone takes Juliet out to talk about things. Aiden kneels in front of Wendy and asks if she is selling him. Wendy is so shocked by how adorable Aiden is and tells him he does not have to, but Aiden asks if she would save him with an adorable smile. So Wendy cannot help but blush, saying of course she will. Wendy uses Aiden as bait, not just because he is beautiful, but because she wants to separate him from Juliet. The siblings come back, saying they will go with the plan. Step 1 is to sell Aiden as a slave. Step 2 is for the 3 to pretend to be customers, and Step 3 is for them to destroy the market. Simone notices how expensive things have turned out. Wendy asks why he is worried about money when he is a dragon, but Simone just flirts with her, making Aiden mad. He hugs Wendy and tells her to be careful. Aww. Wendy feels terrible for selling her husband. Aiden warns Simone not to try anything funny. Simone asks who he is afraid of, but Aiden shuts him up. Juliet arrives with an awkward situation happening. At the slave market, the soldiers already know about her. Both Wendy and Juliet are shocked by how Aiden looks and how fast he is bought by the nobles. Wendy is disgusted by the nobles, while Juliet is angry at herself for selling Aiden to them. Juliet plans to go after Aiden, but Simone stops her. Juliet asks if he has feelings for Wendy because he always takes her side. She claims she is much cuter, and Wendy jokingly agrees. When they enter, Wendy is amazed by Simone's boldness. While walking, Wendy leaves many teleportation runes behind. Juliet tells Wendy that Simone is much more loving than Aiden and suggests Wendy should go after him. But Wendy is confused, wondering which part of Aiden is not loving. Juliet continues to underestimate Wendy, unaware that Wendy knows they are dragons. Simone hits Juliet, telling her she shouldn't interfere or pick fights. Juliet asks why both Simone and Aiden care so much for Wendy. Juliet and Simone get into an argument, but Wendy takes Juliet's side and tells Simone that the guide is waiting. They arrive at the 4th floor for the auction, only for Wendy to realize that no one is there except them. The group realizes they've been tricked. They have been locked in and are wondering how the enemy knew of their plan. Wendy realizes that she is the one they know about, which shocks her because she is not as famous as her master. Simone mentions that he knows Wendy's master, which shocks Wendy even more. Simone teases her, so Wendy steps on his feet. They assume that one of the mercenaries has betrayed them. Juliet senses the guards coming and asks where Aiden is. Wendy almost reveals that they share a dragon heart. Simone says they could just destroy everything while Aiden protects the slaves. Simone tells Wendy to get ready, saying he will protect her, but Wendy makes it clear that she can take care of herself. Simone and Wendy just walk past everyone without breaking a sweat, defeating everyone in their path. The guards then decide to target Juliet, but she defeats them easily. Wendy casts a teleportation spell to save all the slaves, but she is still frustrated that she cannot be with Aiden yet, which makes her feel shy. Wendy keeps thinking about Aiden while looking for him, only to be shocked when Aiden hugs her from behind. Whoa! How did Aiden get there so fast? He simply says Wendy called for him, but she didn't use any magic. Then that must mean their connection. Aiden confirms it. Draconic magic. A gift from his dragon heart now fully settled in her body, which also means she has fully accepted his heart. Finally. Wendy seems more preoccupied with researching what else a dragon heart can do rather than pondering the emotional implications. Aiden finds this utterly adorable. He wraps her in his embrace, something he's wanted to do for a while, interrupted by 2 certain nuisances. One of those nuisances, Juliet, walks in. Uh-oh. Betrayed by the sight, she demands confirmation. Aiden doesn't hesitate to declare his relationship with Wendy. Juliet realizes he fooled her. Everyone did. In pure rage, she casts a spell aimed at Aiden, but their shared heart redirects it to Wendy. Aiden scolds her. He's always been clear about her unrequited feelings. She never listened. She blames him for hiding it, maybe out of fear from other dragons. He counters. He told her repeatedly. She refused to hear. The couple walks out as Juliet collapses in heavy tears. Wendy pities her, but she's also envious. It takes tremendous courage to confess love openly, unlike her back then who could only hide. The following day, Simone is surprised that the two are holding hands in public. Though no matter how lovey-dovey the two are, they were rather in a sour mood from last night as they beat the elder dragon up. Simone can only conclude that they have finally revealed the truth to Juliet. To compensate for everything else, he's willing to prevent things from escalating further. But he can't do anything if the whole Silver clan knows about it since they dote on Juliet. No wonder she's so spoiled. Then again, nothing comes out of Simone as he silently compares his clan to Aiden's clan. Changing the topic, he tells them one of the people they captured is begging to see Wendy. Isn't that James? He's one of the customers for the slave trade? He even has the audacity to call Wendy names. Wendy didn't care one bit as she reminded him he's at a disadvantage as a wizard. She can only deduce that he is the reason why they were after her because he wants to get rid of her. Ho ho ho! He must have underestimated the top student and disciple of the Tower of Magicians. He missed a lot of key points, too. Furthermore, there are more wizards in Aiden's hands that were involved. Oh my, more work for Shakma. News spreads fast as Rosie starts gossiping with Wendy via her bird familiar, Ilya. She just feels super relieved that James met his inevitable end, as he has a nasty reputation. It turns out the witches under his team all try their best to distance themselves from James because he's a big fat pervert. Okay, maybe I'm exaggerating, but why else would he be at the slave market? Rosie is confident that Wendy has something to do with James. His punishment is that he is no longer allowed to enter the Tower of Magic ever again and is currently in jail. Aw, that sucks. Anyone involved in such is meant to have a death sentence, but James had the easy way just because he's a noble. After cutting off Rosie so she could get back to her honeymoon, Wendy intends to relax with Aiden after that crazy adventure they had. After detaining James, Simone and Wendy ended their deal as Juliet decides to go home with all the elves and Animorph they saved. Of course, not without a warning from Simone to Aiden that running away isn't always the answer to everything, because everything will still happen. Wendy suspects it's something between dragons. Aiden quietly apologizes for all the trouble Juliet caused, though he's partially at fault for being super handsome and all. Wendy just wants to know why he's sulking when everything is over. She bribes him with passionate kisses. Then things escalate to full-blown lovey-dovey territory. Right in front of my sandwich! A minute after their sensual moment, Aiden blurts out that he isn't usually so immature, especially in front of her. Wendy is confused. She's not exactly mature either. But this stems from his insecurity at seeing how good Simone and Wendy look together, and the fact that Simone is great with seducing people. What? Aiden admits he's upset for also making her worry, for how he handled Juliet. His sincerity looks so pitiful that Wendy thinks he seems younger than her, despite his dragon age. How does he think he's not good at seducing her? He captured Juliet's affection, he captured Wendy's. She married him and forgave his countless deceptions. You're already a pro, Aiden. She comforts him, reassuring that Simone's flirting never worked. She hates manipulative people. The only person who can seduce her is Aiden himself. She boldly tells him to be more beastly with her. Oh my, then we know where that leads to. Again? Finally, aside from relentless lovemaking, they decide to use the pool. Aiden spots a flock of familiars outside. Wendy shoos them away angrily. This is her long weekend off. Logan's owl familiar pleads for attention. The poor man is dying from overthinking, stuck alone while his sister honeymoons. Wendy reassures him the lovebirds will return soon. See what I did there? She shoos the others as only Logan's message matters. Then an eagle familiar appears. The crowned princes. Without a thought, or perhaps with too many, A jealous Aiden grabs the eagle by its neck, threatening to seal its beak shut as if the poor bird personally wronged him. He releases the familiar with visible disdain before noticing that Wendy has no companion like the others. She confesses her uncertainty with summoning and spirit magic, afraid she might accidentally call forth a weirdo. It's the first time she's unsure of anything magical. She blames her inability to make friends. Aiden explains that spirits avoid dragons, but Wendy carries his heart now, which changes things. Dragons can cast spirit magic and form contracts with higher spirits. Wendy decides to enjoy the rest of their vacation. If their feathered guest would just leave them alone. Back in their room, Aiden worries they're having too much fun for a business trip. Wendy reassures him they've earned a week off after the recent fiasco. As long as they reach Rahamarla on time, everything will be fine. Her only real concern is how much she enjoys lazing around with him. Is that truly a bad thing? She admits she can't afford to be lazy. She needs to earn money. Aiden proudly declares he has plenty of wealth and treasures she'll adore. Wendy worries she might one day take advantage of him on a whim. Aiden has absolutely no problem with that. In fact, he would adore it. Wendy sighs, telling him to be more cautious with people. He laughs. She should take her own advice. She's only nice to him, yet she easily forgives and helps others. One thing leads to another. Aiden shamelessly exploits her soft spot, demanding she order him around. Whoops! Maybe he's the one who should be careful with Wendy. After their long rest, Wendy suggests they get back on the road. Aiden eagerly wants her to order him around like a dog. He's been asking all week. Before he can sulk from her rejection, a knock interrupts them. Simone stands at the door, much to Aiden's chagrin. He carries a message from Lord Beers, when the man can deliver it himself. Apparently not. The couple shooed all the familiars away. And Simone volunteered just to see Wendy again. Oh, great, Aiden! You can punch him now! He informs them that Juliet is in capable hands with Lord Beers, so the clan will not know what occurred. They also need to care for a hatchling, a cute little red dragon. Wendy is head over heels. While she dotes on the tiny creature, Aiden insists he's way cuter and can transform into a hatchling if she wants. Simone regrets coming here personally. Coming to her senses, Wendy reasons she should accept Lord Beer's request. She damaged his property, and Juliet's imprisonment is partly their fault. Aiden is irked, especially when Simone reminds him they're simply buying time for dragonkind. The hatchling is a red dragon. It can't stay near silver dragons in Lord Beer's lair. Too young and not allowed to speak with humans, but absolutely stubborn. Wendy finds this absolutely adorable. The two males pale at her cuteness aggression. Fun fact, the little dragon's name is Rodney. With that said, Simone leaves them to be before Aiden can throw him out. It is most fortunate an obstacle is gone from Aiden's sight, but it seems like an even worse opponent has captured Wendy's heart. Even at their camping trip, she devotedly dotes on Rodney while Aiden glares at him. Coming back to herself, Wendy realizes the amount of food Aiden made for her and thinks he can open a restaurant since his cooking is delicious and he's handsome too. He refuses as he only cooks solely for her. Aw, where can I find my dragon husband? With the lack of ingredients, the two plan to head out to the city and report their arrival. But what about the little guy? They can't leave him to starve. Despite Aiden's reasoning that Rodney is the largest of his kind, Wendy thinks Rodney is just adorable since he's basically still a baby. Most of all, she thinks her adult dragon is the most adorable since he's willing to stick the little guy with him just so it won't get close to her. So they resort to hiding Rodney inside Aiden's cloak as they report their arrival to the city guard. As they're about to enter swiftly, Rodney takes a peek, which the guards take notice of. They all swarm around them, and the only thing Wendy can think of is to shout out loud that their baby doesn't bite. The night after her outburst, Wendy can only be embarrassed and glare at her lover for laughing. Aiden soon apologizes as he thinks she's adorable for her excuse. She can only think he was tricking her with his innocent act as she realizes how forward he actually is in their previous interactions. Anyway, she excuses her earlier stunt as something that came to mind. Her best excuse is calling Rodney her familiar, which works because Rodney is quite tiny until she realizes a trivial matter. She hopes word won't come out of this, especially from Haley. Aiden thinks it's impossible for that not to happen, as she practically shouted it to the whole town. Nice save, Wendy! The couple plus fake familiar enters the manor of Olamon, with the mayor greeting them kindly. The word does spread fast as the mayor takes an interest in Rodney as he carries the little guy. Just when things are fine, Aiden quickly catches Rodney in the act of firing his breath to the mayor. Wendy freezes when only a little spew of fire comes out of Rodney's mouth, but it is enough to burn the mayor's beard. Oh boy, it does seem like they need a collar that has a danger sign on it. Fortunately, the mayor is understanding as they apologize for Rodney's behavior. He compliments the familiar, noting it resembles a dragon, befitting a star pupil like Wendy. She must have a special love for dragons. You could say that, Mr. Mayor. The mayor regrets not preparing a feast, unaware they were staying overnight due to unexpected plans, and proceeds to discuss her business trip under His Highness's orders. He praises how close she must be with Cain for him to trust her this much, even though he's clearly doing this out of pettiness. He warns her not to lower her guard with Rahamarla's new king. The kingdom rose quickly, yet no one knew him, not even the mayor. Palace staff aren't allowed to speak to him, only vague information. Wendy worries whether or not the king will truly agree to connect his kingdom with another through transportation rune magic. The mayor is only certain the king is bold and firm in his policies. Before supper, the mayor asks kindly if Rodney eats anything, but only animal meat. Aiden assures him Rodney ate enough this morning and needs little food once fed. They leave the tiny creature behind despite his pitiful protests. When they return, he's gone! Wendy's heart drops. Their baby has disappeared. In a frantic, Wendy suggests they ask help from the other dragons, while Aiden dismisses it that Rodney will come back safely. Angered by how indifferent he is, Wendy scolds him for his dislike for the little guy. He simply doesn't want her to be involved with any other dragon affairs. Wendy is aware of the legend of a harmed hatchling taking revenge, but all she can think of is Rodney being lost because he's just a child. She looks at Aiden with a cold gaze, telling him he is pushing her away from him to keep her in the dark before she walks out. Aiden, please, you promised to be honest with her. High and low, left and right, she searches for Rodney even when her mind is in a jumble. Yet all she can think of is how Aiden, her dear lover, shuts her out of his life. There's such a huge contrast between them, as Aiden knows a lot about humans while she knows little of his kind. Sighing in despair at the far corner, she looks up and notices a white big bird. A familiar. It seems like he knows of their fight and offers to console her. The familiar voice belongs to Simone's bird. Wendy interrogates him. How does he know about her fight with Aiden? He confesses he sent his familiar to track their location, as Rodney's whereabouts are different. Wait, he knows where Rodney is? Wendy grabs the familiar by its tiny throat, demanding answers. Simone assures her Rodney is fine. He's a dragon. This only fuels her rage. The dragons don't seem to care at all. Simone explains dragons have different standards for their own kind. Wendy snaps. How is she supposed to know when no one tells her anything? Realizing her outburst, she curls up on her knees, hugging herself. She quietly admits Aiden loves her too much. He would do anything for her happiness, but she wants to do the same for him. How can she when he refuses to talk about the very species he loathes? Is it because she's human? Simone points out the obvious. Aiden is trying to be considerate, emphasizing their differences so she doesn't feel pressured. Then Simone asks if she's ever confessed her feelings to Aiden. She didn't. No wonder Aiden is cautious. He doesn't realize Wendy loves him too. God, just confess already! But Simone warns now isn't the right time to make a move. There better be a good reason, Simone. Rodney is safe and sound, but he's about to eat a human? Wendy slips back inside the manor, coordinates from Simone tucked safely in her mind. Suddenly, familiar arms wrap around her. Aiden, still wary, still guilty over what he did. She simply brushes him off. Her feelings for him surface again, but now isn't the time. She inspects the room behind the door. Aiden advises an invisibility spell and quiet movement. They slip inside. Pitch black, nothing at first. Then Aiden grabs something. Rodney. The little dragon glares up at him, guilty as charged. He gobbled every bit of food and tried to eat the mayor. Aiden secures a collar and muzzle on him. Problem solved. Wendy's mind drifts. She can't remember when it happened, when she stopped gently keeping him at bay. Their relationship only sailed because of his relentless persistence. So how did she start falling for him? The mayor bids them farewell, guiding them to the transportation portal. They're departing together, but Wendy feels the distance. Aiden is upset. She's been blatantly ignoring him. You're just now hyper-aware of your love for him. Still, he smiles and offers his hand before they step through. She hesitates, then withdraws. His expression crumples. Finally arriving at Rahamarla, the city guards tell them to wait. An officer escorts them to their lodge while Aiden trails behind, still crestfallen. The tension is unbearable as Rodney hides from the awkwardness entirely. Poor little dude. Every attempt Aiden makes at contact, Wendy shuts down. She doesn't know how to confess. How is it so easy for him to declare love again and again with no reciprocity? Her eyes tear up. Simone's advice echoes in her mind to be honest as Aiden gets anxious not knowing. Confidence surges through her as she stands, ready to reveal her heart, then stops to think of strategies. Wendy, my girl, don't overthink it. She resolves to take her time and not rush. Then Aiden requests a talk from outside the door. Excuses start to spill out. Alas, it doesn't help as she feels his inner turmoil twist through their shared heart. Frantically, she tries to reassure him through the door, when his arms wrap around her. Aiden had used transportation magic to get inside her room without permission. But that isn't important. He's unraveling. He's certain she's furious as she won't even meet his eyes. No matter what she says, his heart aches. He'd rather she scream, throw things, do anything spiteful. Anything but ignore him like this. Piles of obsessive emotions crash over Wendy as Aiden pours his heart out. He will do anything to keep her, unaware she's drowning of his endless love. Her vision soon blurs. The last thing she sees is Simone scolding Aiden and her own desperate wish to comfort him. Then darkness. A white dreamscape of a depressed Wendy sits alone while another Wendy appears, sneering at how cruel and selfish she is, leading Aiden on. Then the appearance of Aiden telling her the same thing leads her to wake up with her chest throbbing. For the first time since owning his heart, she feels his true emotions. He was hiding them to protect her. Still dizzy, she reaches for the figure in front of her. Aiden? No, Simone. He explains her mind is overloaded, which causes a fever, which means she needs more rest and to blame Aiden for everything that has ever happened to her current life. But she believes she hurt him more. Truly the perfect pair. Simone won't let her see Aiden yet, as it might worsen her fever, and Aiden is too ashamed. He leaves her to rest. But her thoughts chase only one thing. She just wants to see Aiden smile. Resting didn't go well. Nightmares of Aiden leaving her plagued Wendy's sleep. She wakes to find Rodney beside her, somehow softer toward her than before. She rises, inspecting the fancy lodging, and makes a silent promise. She will bring Aiden back. In a deep, dark cavern, Wendy walks the winding trail, exhausted but unrelenting. An unknown cave leading her to Aiden. A black dragon Aiden. She approaches his massive form, voice calm and steady. She confesses she never meant to hurt him. She was so focused on telling him something important that her words came out wrong, wounding him without intention. She was used to his patience and feels terrible for her thoughtlessness. Because she loves him. She finally confessed her love, and it's so romantic. She presses a chaste kiss against his dragon snout. The great beast trembles and shifts back into human form. Aiden stares at her, disbelieving. He thinks this must be a dream. He hurt her too. Her feelings seem impossible. Wendy meets his gaze, unwavering. No matter how many times he doubts, she will keep telling him. She loves him. As Wendy tidies herself after their passionate encounter, Aiden spots the scratches on her back. Guilt flickers across his face. He gently kisses each mark. Wendy laughs it off and insists she started it. When Aiden's remorse lingers, Wendy playfully warns she'll smack him if he keeps apologizing. Afterward, Wendy jokes that she hopes Rodney won't catch on to what happened, especially now that he's finally warming up to her. Aiden arches an eyebrow, prompting Wendy to proudly share how she promised Rodney she'd come back, with Aiden by her side. Aiden's face clouds over, and he grumbles that Wendy spoils Rodney too much. Wendy starts to protest, then grins, admitting he's right. Noticing Aiden's jealousy, she teases him, saying he's especially handsome in his true form, which makes Aiden blush. When they reach the room, Wendy dashes over to Rodney. She scoops him up in a hug and gushes about how adorable he is for waiting. Watching this, Aiden swoops in, scoops up Rodney, and gives him a gentle mock choke. Oh, Aiden, you're hopelessly smitten. There's simply no cure for you. Later, a maid announces Simone's arrival in the room. As they settle into their chairs, Simone lets out a dramatic sigh, struggling to ignore the couple's affectionate display. He grumbles that they are an eyesore. Wendy kisses Aiden and tells Simone she's just helping him move on. Simone retorts that Wendy's behavior only encourages him, prompting Aiden to glare at Simone, tension rising between them. The mood shifts as Wendy asks about Simone's connection to the king of Rahamarla. Simone explains that he was adopted by the former Marquess Louis, who had no heir at the time, and chose Simone for his charm and talent. Noticing the others are already distracted by Rodney, Simone huffs about being ignored and mutters about their lack of respect. I can't get enough of this trio! When they arrive before the king, they bow, and Wendy steps forward to introduce herself. The king smirks, recounting both the chaos and achievements Wendy has brought in the past. Wendy quickly apologizes for any trouble, but the king assures her that her boldness is a valuable trait. The king turns to Aiden. Wendy introduces him as the newest recruit in the Rune Research Division. The king, eyeing Aiden, jokes about being tempted by Aiden's handsomeness. Soon after their introductions, the king turns to the group and formally asks them to state the purpose of their visit. After reading Kane's letter, the king sinks into thoughtful silence. The air thick with anticipation, Wendy steps forward and reveals the bold vision, a grand teleportation rune to unite both empires. Her words ripple through the chamber, and the king instantly understands Kane's urgency, especially with Wendy standing before him as a messenger. He responds without hesitation, granting his approval so swiftly that Wendy is left stunned, her reply caught in her throat. Sensing the lingering anticipation in the room, the king responds warmly to Wendy's and Kane's proposal, his tone betraying both pride and concern. He reminds them that Rahamarla and Mornada have always been unwavering allies, his eyes glinting with resolve. Assuring them that both kingdoms have much to gain from this daring endeavor, he briefly pauses, his brow furrowing as he admits the dangers, including the possibility of attack. Yet, his voice grows firm as he declares that the rewards of progress shine brighter than any threat. Listening to the king, Wendy recognizes that he prizes courage, yet never at the expense of wisdom. She understands now that the proposal was a measure of trust as much as strategy, and the king had read its true intent with ease. Moved by his insight, Wendy vows to begin the installation and alert Mornada immediately. The king proposes that she send Rodney to deliver the news quickly, and though uncertainty flickers in her eyes, Wendy consents to send the message through a familiar. Rodney cannot risk being seen in Mornada, where curious eyes might seize him for study. Just as her anxiety grows, Aiden appears, volunteering his help. With a playful spark in his eyes, he assures Wendy that all she needs to do is ask. The next day, the halls of Mornada's magic tower buzz with excitement as everyone gushes over Wendy's adorable dragon familiar. For many, it is their first time seeing such a creature, and their amazement is clear. Someone remarks on how Wendy always acted as if she already had a familiar whenever she traveled, only now realizing she had been preparing all along to summon a dragon. Looks like the little dragon is loving the attention, especially from Wendy. Meanwhile, Wendy listens from afar, delighted by the praise her dragon receives. She admits she cannot resist doting on her familiarity, charmed by its cuteness. As she smiles at the crowd, she is secretly relieved that no one has noticed the truth about her fabricated familiar. A true familiar should be able to perform simple tasks, communicate with its master, and exist in two places at once. Back at the Palace of Rahamarla, Wendy and Aiden are hard at work installing the tower. Suddenly, Aiden freezes mid-task as soon as he spots Simone approaching. Aiden sneaks up and hugs Wendy from behind, a move so cheesy it makes Simone roll his eyes. Aiden, bristling, demands to know why Simone is there. Simone grins and says he just wants to see Wendy, which only fuels Aiden's irritation. Wendy steps in before things escalate, reminding Simone that he must have a good reason for visiting since he is always so busy. Poor Simone, forever the third wheel. Simone notes that Wendy turned down the king's offer to work for him, shaking his head at what he sees as a missed golden opportunity. Wendy recalls how the king accepted her refusal without protest, even noting that he could tell from her determined eyes that she would not be swayed. He wished her success in all she set out to do. Meanwhile, Simone admits his disappointment, saying he would have found things much more entertaining if Wendy had accepted the offer. Aiden bristles again, clearly annoyed by Simone treating Wendy like a source of amusement. Wendy cuts to the chase and asks Simone what he really wants. Simone reminds her of the time he helped her before and says he's calling in a favor. Wendy agrees without hesitation. Later, after leaving the palace and arriving at Lord Byer's dragon cave, Wendy asks Simone why he wants her to meet Juliet and teases him about doting on his sister. Simone, clearly annoyed, insists he is just doing his duty. He hands Wendy a bottle of wine for her and Juliet to share, then strides off. Once Simone departs, Wendy crosses the bridge inside the dragon cave and finds Juliet waiting for her on the other side. 15 centuries ago, the Silver Dragon clan welcomed its first hatchling in 3 millennia, Juliet. The clan cherished her. Even at Lord Byers' lair, where every wish was granted, Juliet remained beloved. Simone recalls Eli, Aiden's uncle, once confiding that Juliet had fallen for Aiden. Simone dismissed it, knowing Juliet's passions faded quickly, as did her feelings for Aiden after her slumber. Still, Simone cannot fault Juliet for being drawn to Aiden, the first black dragon to be born in ages. This connection seemed inevitable, considering the rarity of such dragons. Years later, once Juliet awoke, Aiden found companionship with a human. Simone grew curious, since dragons rarely trust humans seeking immortality. Yet when Simone met Wendy, he immediately understood the fascination. Wendy's character captivated him too. As memories surface, Simone gazes at the bridge, silently hoping Wendy softens Juliet's heart, and that his plan spares Wendy's pain. Simone, your plan will work better if Aiden kills you if something bad happens to Wendy. Wendy fidgets, then pours wine to ease the silence. Juliet watches her and asks if Wendy is mocking her. Wendy shrugs and says if they aren't talking, she might as well drink. Juliet accuses Wendy of thinking she isn't worth her time. Wendy calmly says she has no reason to upset her. Juliet bursts into tears, confessing she liked Aiden first and can't understand why he prefers Wendy. Wendy listens, recalling her own heartbreak and seeing Juliet's loneliness. Poor her. Maybe Juliet will find true love too. As the evening wears on, to comfort Juliet, Wendy steps forward and hugs her. Juliet is startled but does not pull away. Eventually, they end up drinking together, the mood gradually shifting from tense to conciliatory. The next morning arrives quietly. Wendy wakes up groggy and jokingly accuses Simone of spiking the wine. But her attention quickly shifts when she notices Juliet lying beside her. Still reeling from the surprise, Wendy is stunned to find herself in this new situation. Meanwhile, Aiden stands silently behind Simone, who teases Wendy about her apparent interest in women. Moments later, Aiden sternly orders Juliet to let go of Wendy, his eyes narrowed with concern and protectiveness. Juliet simply glances at him, then back at Wendy, her expression carefully innocent, but a flash of mischief flickers in her eyes. Aiden watches and quickly moves to sweep Wendy into a protective back hug, warning Juliet she is getting too close for comfort. Juliet turns to Wendy with a sweet smile and asks if she feels uneasy, but Wendy simply chuckles and says she's heading to the restroom to get ready. After Wendy leaves and the atmosphere shifts, Simone seizes the moment to question Juliet's true intentions. Juliet insists she has no plans to harm Wendy, since that would also hurt Aiden, and she bristles at the suggestion that she could ever be ruthless enough to kill Wendy. The conversation takes a more personal turn as Juliet confides in Simone that she finally understands why Aiden is drawn to Wendy. During their conversation, she felt Wendy's genuine warmth and sincerity, and now she suspects she might be falling for Wendy herself. Hearing this, Simone feels a headache coming on, realizing just how much trouble is brewing. The situation with two dragons battling for Wendy's affection is definitely a problem. And amusing too. While helping Wendy wash her hair, Aiden can't help but tease her, asking if she's starting to fall for Juliet. He lists all the reasons Wendy might be drawn to Juliet, but Wendy laughs it off, insisting she doesn't like Juliet that way. She explains that Juliet was only clingy that morning because she was probably just sleepy. As the conversation shifts, Aiden grins and tells Wendy that dragons never get sleepy and can't even get drunk. Wendy is taken aback, realizing she has no idea why Juliet was suddenly so affectionate. A new moment unfolds as Aiden dries Wendy's hair. He admits the real reason he hesitates to introduce her to other dragonkin. Her charm is so irresistible. He worries other dragons might fall for her too. Wendy smiles, amused that Aiden doesn't realize how handsome he is. She wonders why he chose her, but reassures him that no matter how beautiful another dragon might be, her heart belongs only to him. Later, Aiden asks what Wendy did to make Juliet fall for her overnight. Wendy can only recount their time together, but as Aiden listens, he frowns. Their night sounds suspiciously similar to his own first night with Wendy. Looks like you need to keep an eye on your girl, Aiden. On the day the teleportation tower is tested, Wendy steps forward, eager to be first. Another witch warns of danger, but Wendy fixes him with a sharp glare and demands that he not doubt her project. He stammers an apology, cowed by her confidence. Wendy's boldness is inspiring. The king, seeing Wendy's confidence, praises her and admits it is difficult to lose such a talented witch. Wendy beams at him, her pride clear. Juliet confesses her sadness at Wendy's departure. In response, Wendy gently pats Juliet's head and assures her she can visit whenever she likes. Juliet's face lights up at the promise and she nods eagerly. After this exchange, the crowd's focus shifts from Juliet and Wendy to the preparations at the tower. Meanwhile, Wendy already feels Aiden's intense gaze burning into her back, but she shrugs it off and confidently steps onto the rune beside him. She sends her and Aiden off and realizes that it's a short but eventful journey with them, and also remembers Rodney, whom she will miss very much. Aiden assures her that Rodney is safe and living at Lord Byers' cave. Just as they're about to leave, a new excitement sweeps through the gathered witches when Rodney appears and swoops toward Wendy and Aiden, eager to join them on their journey home. Arriving at Mornata, Wendy is greeted with surprise by the local witch, who congratulates her on the project's success. The unexpected greeting catches Wendy off guard, and she freezes, worried about keeping Rodney hidden from the other witches. Meanwhile, Kona mentions Wendy's and Aiden's obvious relationship, leaving Rossi stunned. Kona laughs, saying anyone paying attention could see their feelings. As Kona continues, she suddenly realizes her past attempts to win over Aiden were always doomed, since his heart already belonged to Wendy. Logan joins the conversation, teasing that everyone knows about their romance, even if Wendy tries to hide it. After all, they practically announced it during the prince's visit. Next, Wendy feels proud to know that Rossi, Logan, and Nick did their assigned jobs properly and that everything is running smoothly. But the only thing that Wendy didn't like was Rossi. When Wendy arrives at the office, she launches into a playful rant about the surprise. Aiden gently points out that Wendy has always squirmed when praised, which makes her cheeks turn pink. Just then, Rossi bursts in, causing Wendy and Aiden to quickly step apart. Transitioning the focus, Wendy confronts Rossi about the surprise. But Rossi insists she only meant to plan a small party and blames James for things getting out of hand. Wendy sighs in defeat, then grins at her friends and tells them to enjoy their office. What a cute group! As they savor their meal, the group eagerly brings Wendy up to speed on everything she missed. Rossi, practically bouncing in her seat, shares the big news. Evelyn has recommended Logan to replace James as head of the Weapon Research Division after his dismissal. Wendy offers Logan a warm congratulations, but he cannot shake the feeling that everyone is just glad to see him go. Doubt creeps in about whether he is truly up for the job. Wendy reassures him, insisting this is a chance he should seize, though she teases that the decision is not final, and for now, he is still her loyal secretary. Hearing this, Aiden commented that he wishes Logan to get the job so that he'll be the one to take Logan's position while kissing Wendy's hands. Get a room, you couple! Witnessing this, Rossi, Nick, and Logan are scandalized that Rossi can't help but protest with a cheesy act, since Wendy always curses Nick and Logan. Thus, she must also treat Aiden that way. Hearing this, Wendy smirked and announced that from then on, she would treat everyone and curse them equally, including Rossi, making Rossi kneel in defeat. The following day, Aiden nudges Wendy, reminding her that she has not seen Master Shakma since she unexpectedly entrusted James to Shakma's care, and encourages her to visit. Later, Wendy stands awkwardly, her heart pounding as she waits for Shakma to speak. After a few tense minutes, Shakma invites her to sit and gently teases her for looking so stressed. noting that she just handed it off. Wendy says she's been busy caring for the dragons. Shakma chuckles that Aiden causes more trouble than the rest, but Wendy insists Aiden seems to be the one who's watching over her. Then, with an unexpectedly solemn tone, Shakma confides that Aiden avoids talking about the other dragons because in every past bond between humans and dragons, heartbreak was the only outcome. Yet Shakma's eyes soften as he admits he believes Wendy is different, quietly sending her his faith and hope. Moved by his words, Wendy's voice quivers as she puts a reassuring hand on Shakma's shoulder and promises that, no matter how many years pass, he will always remain her master and father figure. Overwhelmed, Shakma smiles with relief and pulls her into a tight, warm hug. These two are absolutely adorable! Afterward, as the evening goes on, Aiden anxiously asks Wendy if Shakma was too harsh. Wendy admits that Shakma merely gave her the silent treatment for half an hour. With her heart pounding, Wendy reveals to Aiden that the house she received from Shakma is their wedding gift. The realization hits Aiden, his cheeks burning as he realizes it will be their first home together, making Wendy feel conscious too. The following day, Wendy is with Rossi at the harbor on the outskirts of Mornada to check on the worn-out calloused stone. Thus, Wendy instructs on the things to be done, which Rossi notes down. Next, the two separated to go home since Rossi needed to run errands with Nick, while Wendy was called by Aiden to return home since he had already finished his work at the potion department. Upon arriving, Wendy is shocked and feels lucky to see how Aiden cleans and cooks for her. She thanks him, but Aiden whispers seductively to give him a treat later. It's gonna be a hot night. Hearing Aiden, Wendy kisses him and remarks that she'll think about it after she freshens up. Next, while taking a bath, Wendy can't help but think about how stressful it is after their arrival, since people gossip about their relationship, and people think that Aiden is forcing her to like him. Wendy also starts to worry about Shakma, since he has already hit the 3-digit age and no wizard surpasses 150 years old, making her heart clench, but she stops herself from overthinking. Afterward, Wendy gets out with only a long polo, which makes Aiden blush and freeze at the seductive sight. Seeing Aiden's reaction, Wendy tries to explain, but stops and pulls Aiden towards her for a kiss and more. Aiden again asked for her consent, which Wendy assured him she had. Yes, consent is a must! Don't forget to ask for the next part in the comment section. Thank you guys for watching and for your support. Please subscribe to the channel, it helps us a lot. Till the next one!